EEKtober, everybody. We are doing 31 days of scary movies, and today is day 18. I am your host, Melissa Forziat. I'm a keynote speaker, and when I speak, my topic is Take the Doughnut, which for me is another way to say carpe diem. It comes from this weird thing that happened in college where I left an actual donut on a table, but that became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunities behind. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. And from time to time, I'll issue myself a Take the Doughnut challenge, even. I'll make it official. I'll say it's a Take the Doughnut challenge so I can hold myself accountable to doing something I want to do. This time, however, I'm opening it up to anybody who wants to join. And here you are. We're doing 31 days of scary movies. So again, today is day 18. We are watching The Boy from 2016. When I put the subgenre for this, I put creepy doll / psychological, knowing full well I was tricking you if you had never seen this before. Look, if I told you other subgenres you could put this in, it would probably spoil the big twist of the movie. But now that you've seen it, home invasion can potentially work. Stalker could potentially work. It's actually not a creepy doll movie at all. It just seems like, well, I guess it is. I mean, the doll is creepy, but not in the way other creepy doll movies try to be creepy. So that's kind of neat. It's inventive. I'll give it that, right? This one was directed by William Brent Bell. It was written by Stacy Minier. Stars Lauren Cohan, who played Greta, Rupert Evans, who played Malcolm, James Russell, who played Brahms, though whose face we never see, and Mr. and Mrs. Heelshire are in it for just a little bit, but I haven't named those actors here. In this series, if you're into this series, when it continues with its sequel, Brahms the Boy 2 from 2020, it's not exactly the same as this film. I mean, because it's such a specific twist, you can't just, it's not like a, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise or like a Scream franchise. You can't get exactly this over and over again. So it's got a bit of the atmosphere of the first one, but it is a different film. Some of the things that I like about this film, of course, the cool twist. I think, we've seen creepy doll movies before. We've seen them. We've seen a lot of them. Most of them, while they scared me when I was younger, now that I'm older and I've gone back to them, most of them I'm like, oh my goodness. A lot of them become a little campy somewhere along the way. This wants to be atmospheric, and so it needs to somehow veer out of this is all a doll being like a supernatural tool. So they took it in a different direction, and that becomes like a really creepy thing. The doll was creepy enough, and now it escalates. So for me, the twist is unexpected. It's different from other doll movies that I've seen, and it's interesting. And again, a lot of night shots, a lot of rain shots. I think it's well set for this. I love, love, love the location. I guess, to be honest with you, like that's probably the best part of the film for me, because I've always wanted to be able to explore a mansion in real life. There have been times when my family has gone on when we would go on family vacations when I was younger, we would go to tours of big houses or something, or famous houses. And I would always want to go into the places that were roped off. And the idea that there were trapdoors in places always was really fascinating to me. So I've always wanted to have a mansion of my own that I could explore. And this house, this mansion, it's a mansion to me. It's so interesting, both what you're supposed to be able to see and the fact that they've created, Brahms has created this whole world inside of the walls and the service passageways that he's created for himself. The features of that we only get to see for a second, and it's fascinating what he's created. So the very idea that there's all that space that's been unexplored in the house is wild to me. In terms of character development, it's not necessarily the strength of this film. It's not trying to be the strength of this film. They want to get things moving along because they have really two reveals. They want to reveal the doll being creepy, and they want to reveal that enough for Greta to start taking it seriously. And then they need to reveal that's not the problem at all. Like, so in order to have enough time to do all of those things, we're going to have to make a couple of the characters a little thin. Cole, very simply just like he's an angry guy. That's all we know about Cole. That's all we ever need to know about Cole. Sandy, she's a friend, gets on the phone, just helps move the plot along. We've got a couple of those things happening here, but I think it takes all kinds with these 31 Days of Scary Movies. And for me, I'm really glad to have a movie with a weird twist in here. And I don't know, I enjoy it. So let's get into the scenes themselves. We start with the credits. We are going to see shots of toys of a boy's room around a very fancy home. Greta is being driven to the house. The driver gets to a very old gate. We see a huge old mansion. He wakes up Greta, and she should wait in the front room while the Heelshires are going to come down and find her. He's going to bring her stuff in. Don't worry, just go on in. The house is huge. It's amazing. She's walking around in awe of it, and it is truly incredible. She's going to call out, but can't get anybody to come down to her. So she's going to see a portrait on the wall of an older couple, the Heelshires and their young son or young boy. She is going to walk up the stairs because nobody has come to her, which is weird. She hears a voice. So she's going to see a boy's room. She's going to go into it. It's full of toys. And then she's going to get surprised by Malcolm, who introduces himself as the grocery boy. He's like, oh, so you're here for the nanny job, right? All right, well, let me give you a tour of the pantry because that's what I'm here for. So they're going to start putting away groceries. He's going to flirt with her as much as he possibly can. He's like, you're American. You're from Montana. Yeah, I'm guessing it's your first trip to the UK. He's like, I've got a gift. I can read people's past in their chewing gum. So she takes out her chewing gum. This is a really gross way to flirt, but here we are. So he takes the chewing gum. He says, you're a writer from Montana. You're coming to be inspired by the English countryside. She's like, no. He says, right. I see where I went wrong. Let me try again. I see a dark past. I see you running from somebody. She's like, oh, okay. He's warm now. He's a little warmer. She gets very serious. She's going to throw out her gum. Don't want you doing that trick anymore. And she's going to ask about the family because she hasn't met them yet. He says, well, they're generous. She's like, what about the son? Brahms, right? He's like, he gets a little awkward. I mean, Malcolm is unyielding. No, is that the word that I want? Not unyielding. He's not giving of information. So Mrs. Heelshire is finally going to enter. She's been letting the stranger just gallivant about the house. Mrs. Heelshire sees her without her shoes on because she figured, yeah, she'd probably take her shoes off to be polite. That's a weird thing about it's one of the customs that it's one or the other in every culture, it feels like. And you just make your best guess or you look it up beforehand. But she guessed wrong. She had taken off her shoes. That was a bad move. So Mrs. Heelshire's like, yeah, Brahms is really excited to meet you. Never met an American. Let's talk about your feet. And oops. So Greta is going to go back to where her shoes were, but they're not there anymore. Mrs. Heelshire says, right. That was probably Brahms. He might have stolen your shoes. Maybe you got another pair. Let's try that. So we're going to get an introduction now with Mr. Heelshire. He introduces the Brahms doll. Greta's like, that can't be it, right? That's not the kid I'm meant to be watching, right? They're very serious though. This is their boy. Malcolm makes sure she knows this is real. He's like, oh, so you've met Brahms. How are you doing, Brahms? Take it easy on Mrs. Evans now, or Miss Evans. He shakes his hand and he's getting serious about it. So she's like, okay, all right. Malcolm's gonna say goodbye to Greta. She's surprised by all this, but she follows suit. She's gonna shake Brahms's hand. She says, it's nice to meet you. I hope you and I can be friends. I'm sure that'll work out really well. Mrs. Hillshire is going to take Brahms. She says to Greta, okay, do you think you can manage? Like others have tried to do this before and they weren't as young, they weren't as pretty. Like, I don't know if he'll accept you or not. She's like, yeah, I think so. So some of the rules, like wake Brahms at 7 a.m. every day, dress him. Let's practice. Let's try. You try. And Greta's not being, she's being a little too tender with Brahms. She's not getting it done. Mrs. Hillshire's like, all right, let me do it. She shows like he's not a baby, he's not delicate. You can, do what you need to do. So they go to the sitting room. Mrs. Hillshire explains, okay, here's his schedule. Here's what he does. So he needs 3 hours of lessons a day, 5 days a week. Here's some books you can read from. Make sure you read in a loud and clear voice. Brahms falls over. She's like, oh, Brahms, sit up straight. She straightens him up. She says, okay, here's where the music is, the record player. When you play it very loud. He likes it very loud. We've got an opera tune on the record player. The Hillshires, Brahms, and Greta sit down for a meal. And when they're done, Mrs. Hillshire and Greta clear the table and they sort of explain some of the other duties. Okay, we're going to put things up, we're going to package things up in the freezer. We don't let things go to waste. There are rodents outside, so we try not to like attract them into the house. So don't throw away the food. She'll say, okay, we're going to explain the traps outside after that. So she takes Brahms and Mr. Hillshire is going to take Greta outside to check out the traps. Brahms is very shy. We're getting more dirt here. I know this must all look odd, says Mr. Hillshire. He says this happened little by little that we got here. Our son is very much with us, though. You should know that. You get it, right? Yeah. Greta's like, yep. The Hillshires pray with Brahms before bed. Greta's watching, and then they're like, could you give us just a minute? She's going to let them speak to Brahms privately. And when they come back out, Brahms has chosen Greta. Great. She's got the job. Greta's on the phone with her friend after all this. And she's like, yeah, this is creepy. It's a huge house in the middle of nowhere. It's a horror movie. You got to explain that they're somewhere where they can't get help very easily. Mrs. Hillshire is, first Greta's like, I feel like I'm taking advantage of them. I feel horrible about this. But such is life. The friend says, Sandy says, like, you know what? Just do it. Just do it. Good opportunity for you. Start fresh. Start anew. Forget about what happened. But even though I said forget about what happened, Cole has been calling. I've been trying not to give him any information about you. Greta decides she's going to stay. So the next morning she's fixing up her bed and she hears some banging around and Mrs. Hillshire is yelling at Brahms. Greta goes down to find out that the room is a mess. His room is a mess. Mrs. Hillshire is like, Mommy has to go, okay? You have to be a good boy. You promised us. We made some sort of deal with you about Greta, okay? They are going to go on a holiday. This is all painted as a holiday, a limited time, temporary holiday situation. Mrs. Hillshire is going to give her the rest of the schedule and the rules, a list of rules that she's supposed to follow, because Brahms is not like other children. He can be a little particular. Malcolm, the delivery boy, is going to be by once a week. He's going to help with the groceries. He's going to pay her. Well, the Hillshires are going to go. And it is a bizarrely emotional goodbye. They give Brahms to Greta. Mr. Hillshire says, be good to him, and he'll be good to you. Be bad to him, and Mrs. Hillshire is like, but she won't be. Right, Greta? Greta's like, oh, I'll treat him like my own. So that was weird. And if it wasn't weird enough, now she's, Greta's holding Brahms and Mrs. Hillshire leans in real close and whispers in Greta's ear so Brahms can't hear, I'm so sorry. Okay. They drive away. They're out. So Greta puts Brahms on a chair. She covers it, doesn't want to see him. He's creepy. She's going to start unpacking in her room. She's going to grab a jar of peanut butter and jelly and bring it downstairs. I hope she's got more than one jar of peanut butter and jelly. This is like actually the most primary thing that I was thinking of for about the next 5 minutes of this film. I was like, you're going to go through this so fast. If this was that important to you, I hope you brought a lot of jars of this food with you. But she's going to go down. She's going to make herself a sandwich. She's going to read a bunch. Brahms is covered the whole time. Every time she walks past, she looks, he's still covered, sitting in the chair. She has some more wine. She's going to nap. She wakes up at night and she's going to walk to the kitchen and the cover is off of Brahms. It's thrown onto the ground. She's going to grab him. Oh, I don't like this, right? Like, well, why are you uncovered? She's going to bring him up to his room. She's going to throw him perfectly into a rocking chair. I mean, we're talking the perfect throw. He lands exactly seated in it and it rocks back and forth. And the lights are going to go off. And I like this camera, well, really this shot of the lights go off and it's raining outside. So there's just like the shadows of rain falling, but on his face. So it is a rainy night. We're going to get shots of the empty house. We're going to hear a little soft giggling sound from a boy, and Greta wakes. She's going to grab a candle. She leaves the room. She's still hearing a little boy. She goes downstairs and sees the portrait. She gets really close to it. Lightning goes, and then the boy in the portrait grabs her by the throat. She wakes up from a nightmare. Nice jump scare to get us going. It's morning now, because that wasn't real. It was just to freak us out. So Greta is walking to Brahms' room to inspect the situation. He's in the chair where she left him. So it was just a dream. It's all good. But she sees a tear rolling down his face. Just like, she gets her face really close to him. We see the profile shot of, Greta's face getting closer to Brahms' face. He's crying. And then she notices actually it's a drip coming from the ceiling. She thinks she's losing it at this point. She laughs about it. She's gonna bring Brahms to his bed so he doesn't get rained on. She's gonna go over to, there's an attic door in the ceiling. She goes to try to pull it down, but is not able to pull it down. Then we're gonna explore the house grounds just from some camera angles. We'll go back inside and Greta's playing the harpsichord and it's Brahms' lullaby. She leaves a message for her friend Sandy on the phone. Give me a call back. So many weird things to tell you about my dream. The phone rings, might be Sandy, but it's not actually. It's just like the sound of breathing. It's like, Sandy? Cole? She hangs. The person on the other end hangs up. Greta is going to walk the grounds and she gets some mail. She meets Malcolm at the gate. They are going to start throwing out some food, whatever's left over. Pretty much not what they're supposed to do, but that's what she's doing. Greta says, you see, you could have warned me. That would have been nice. Malcolm says, and ruin the surprise? She says, okay, but I have to ask. He says, well, yeah, okay, the story about the doll, you mean? Yeah. So there was a fire. Brahms didn't make it out. It was his 8th birthday. And then the doll turned up a year later. And it seemed at first like a harmless coping mechanism. Just let them do what they have to do. Greta's like, oh, okay, so he died about 20 years ago. So he'd be about our age. Interesting. You should say that, Greta. A little bit of foreshadowing there. She's like, Malcolm says, well, they've been looking for a nanny for about a year. Malcolm says, well, I could take you on a tour of the town. Okay, yeah, maybe you're not supposed to leave, but I could still do it. Greta's like, I just got a thing with a guy. They're flirting a bit. Malcolm's especially flirting a bit. She eventually agrees. Somebody is watching all of this from upstairs. So now they have a not date, like a maybe date. Like we're going to go around the town as friends, colleagues, co-workers date. Sandy is on the phone with Greta as Greta is getting ready. She says, well, that's a lot of money you're making, isn't it? My goodness, to watch a doll. Greta is saying, oh, well, I'm getting dressed for it's not a date with my colleague, coworker, maybe date situation. Sandy's like, are you drinking wine? She's like, it's a date is what it is. And, Greta's got a dress laid out for herself. She looks at Brahms sitting on the bed in his room, and he's looking at her. So she shuts her door so he can't, because it's just weird. She's going to shower. She's going to take off her necklace. And as she's doing that, somebody opens her bathroom door, takes her necklace. And when Greta gets out of the shower, she notices that her hair is cut, like a lock of her hair is cut as if with a scissors, a pair of scissors. And the necklace is gone. These are things that don't just happen, right? Somebody took these things. So she is going to look around her bedroom. She doesn't see anything. She sees, however, that the attic stairs are pulled down, the very ones she could not pull down earlier. This has to be Malcolm, right? There's like, who else could it be? So she's going to go up into the attic. She's going to try to give us a little Black Christmas redo, if you remember that one. And the door is going to be shut behind her. That's right, folks. She is stuck in the attic now. Malcolm is going to pull up to pick her up for her. It's not a date. He can't hear her, but she's trying to shout to him because she's locked in the attic. He leaves, and then she's going to see in the dark a figure of a person and like a hook for a hand. And that freaks her out. She falls down. She knocks her head out, knocked out for the night. And in the morning, she wakes up. It was just a suit, just a suit in the attic. She sees a photo album with some Brahms pictures. It's good she knows it's there because she'll be able to come back to that later. The attic door now is opened. She watches it open. It opens all of a sudden for no apparent reason. There's nobody there. Except when she gets back to her bedroom, the clothes are moved. So Malcolm is now going to check out the house. She's freaked out enough. She calls Malcolm and they check the attic door. It just seems to be temperamental. Closes on its own at one point. Greta's now going to take the rules a little bit more seriously. She's going to read these, and the rules are no guests, never leave Brahms alone, save the meals in the freezer, never cover Brahms's face, read a bedtime story, play music loud, clean the traps. Only Malcolm brings deliveries. Brahms is never to leave, and kiss goodnight. We've got 10 rules. And these rules, now that you know the twist of this film, are a combination between making sure the real Brahms is fed, the adult Brahms is fed, making sure that he is entertained, making sure that there is enough distraction so that he can move about the house. Those are sort of the main things. And also to not introduce new people who may start to be suspicious of the situation and figure things out. So those are the rules, and there's a good reason for them. So Malcolm feels like the house is pretty much okay. They're going to play some pool. Greta says, tell me about Brahms, really. He says, well, he was a strange kid. Like one time when I was making a delivery, I asked Mr. Heelshire about him, and he said he's just odd. That's the thing for a dad to say. Brahms is hearing all of this through the vent. Sandy is on the phone again, because, I have to vent to her. She's like, it sounds pretty weird where you are, Greta. Bad news also, Cole came here and I kind of gave him your address. Sandy. I don't know. I guess it makes sense that Sandy would fold knowing how badly Cole can injure a human and doesn't want to make him angry. I get it. But Sandy's also here just to move the plot along. Greta's going to get ready for bed. There are papers strewn all over Brahms's room. She's going to turn his face, and then he turns back for a jump scare. She wakes up. Okay, that wasn't real either. Whew, thank goodness. She walks to Brahms's room. Her shoes are now in front of her door, though, so she can't get out. Well, she can get out, but she's stopped by the shoes, by seeing the shoes there, because she didn't leave them there. Brahms is sitting up at the edge of his bed next to the rules. It's like, check that, like, do these. Like I've been telling you, what more do you need me to say? I'm a doll. I only have so many ways to communicate this to you. The phone line is cut. We're going to hear some record player static. And we hear a boy saying, Greta, Greta. The phone rings. Boy saying, Greta, Greta. The line was just cut. She couldn't, what? Like, there was no way to get through. But now we can. So he's saying, please come out. Come play with me, Greta. Greta, why won't you follow the rules, Greta? She throws the phone, and then there are footsteps outside of her door, and that freaks her out. She's cowering in fear. We hear a boy's voice. The feet go away. Something is slid in front of the door, and she goes to check it, and it's a tray with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich cut in half, just the way she does. Okay. Brahms is on the edge of his bed still, and she's just laughing now. She's losing her mind. She picks up the phone, the dial tone is back. So whatever's happening totally controls whether or not she can use the phone. She's going to go into Brahms's room, and she waves her hand in front of Brahms's face like, can you see me? And then she looks at the rules. She says, is this what you want? So Greta is going to answer the phone again, and it's Malcolm this time. And she's like, yeah, doing fine, doing just great. He's like, you sound weird. She's like, nope, it's all good. Now we need to see things escalate a little bit. The heel sharers are not planning to come back. This is not just a vacation. They are going away to commit suicide together. They're wearing coats. They're filling their pockets with rocks, and they're walking into the water so they drown together because they cannot do it anymore. Whatever it is that Greta's about to have to do or currently doing, they don't want to do it anymore. They also had left a suicide note, and they're going to mail that to Greta. Next day, Greta wakes Brahms, going to get some music, going to get some breakfast. She's following the rules now. That's what she's doing. She's reading to Brahms. She's walking with him. She's putting him to bed without a kiss, though, because come on, all right? We just met. Next day, Greta's going to be playing harpsichord with Brahms. Malcolm comes in. He's like, what is happening? He's a little worried. He's making an early delivery. He was so worried. They're going for a walk with Brahms. The heel sharer's letter is in the mail. She's going to decline to go out in the town. He's like, maybe we should get out of here for a little bit. She was like, He fakes having a conversation with Brahms. He's like, you want to have a little privacy, right? You want to just have a little time to yourself. Yeah. He gives him a high five. Making fun of the whole situation. Greta's like, yeah, sorry, no, can't do. Malcolm's going to leave. She's going to test if Brahms can hear her. She's like, I'm losing it. Spirit, if you're in this house, give me a sign. She goes to put fruit in the trash. She comes back out, and Brahms is off of the chair he had been on. He's hiding around the corner. Now she's going to call Malcolm back. Get over here. There was some amount of time that elapsed between that trick and calling Malcolm where she's been doing some tests. And so now she's going to show Malcolm the test. She says, Brahms is alive. You're not going to believe this. She's kind of excited about it. She says, she puts him on the floor in his room. She's going to mark where he's sitting. She's going to go out of the room, close the door, knock on it. And the point is he's supposed to be able to move position on his own. So the first time she tries to do it, he's still there. Malcolm's like, come on. Like, what's happening? Are you okay? Just take a nap. She's like, no. She encourages Brahms. She says, Brahms, please. Okay, let's do it one more time. So they try again. They go out of the room. She knocks on the door. They hear some sounds from the inside. They come back in. Brahms isn't sitting where he used to be sitting anymore. Where are they? Where is he? She doesn't know. He's in a different spot every single time. They're kind of excited this happened. And Brahms is in the corner, never been there before. Cool. Got new tricks to show. So Malcolm and Greta are amazed. Is it a ghost they're dealing with? Maybe a trapped spirit that they're dealing with? Something supernatural, surely. She's like, maybe it's just that Brahms is a boy. He's just a real boy. Could be like the Pinocchio situation happening here. So Greta tells him about Cole while they're walking the grounds. She's like, okay, so you were wondering about the dark past situation. Yeah, Cole, he's not a good guy. He said he'd change, but then he didn't. He hurt me and I lost my baby because of the abuse. Um, so you can see why I'm so compelled to stay here, because I know what it's like to lose a child. It ties me to these people. Although glad she's there for whatever, brought her there, and they're going to have a kiss. Now, Greta is excited about that, so she's going to put Brahms to bed. She's going to give Brahms a kiss this time, and then she goes to hook up with Malcolm, but somebody doesn't like this. They're looking through the keyhole at them, and then Greta and Malcolm are interrupted by loud music starting downstairs. They're going to go to it, and Brahms is down there now. Sure, that's going to kill the mood. She puts him back to bed. Malcolm and Greta get coffee, and that's pretty much the end of their night, right? He's like, I think I'm probably going to stay in town tonight. That seems to be, she's like, it's a tantrum. Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's a good idea. Brahms can hear them talking through the vent. Malcolm's like, there's one more piece of the story that I probably should have told you. Full transparency. So Brahms, when he was a little boy, used to play with this girl named Emily. And one day she was killed. Her skull was crushed. That's what happened. And then the house was set on fire. And and when the police got there, he was dead. So if it's a spirit, cool. I'm just not sure it's the good kind of spirit. She's like, whoa, that's new information. That's dark. Greta says, yeah, he won't hurt me though. I can tell. Malcolm's like, it's not safe. Greta says, I'm not leaving. Okay, that's the plan. Greta's going to put Brahms to bed. She says, you wouldn't hurt me, right? Right? She goes to the attic. She finds the photo. She wants to do a little more research on Emily. She finds a photo of Brahms and Emily. Brahms has given her a glaring look with Emily in the foreground. That seems bad. It gives Greta some pause. Next day, she's going to be cleaning out the traps. Brahms is keeping her company. She goes into the kitchen. She hears somebody in the house, and it's Cole, the guy we know almost nothing about except he's a bad guy. He's playing pool. He's like, look, I was going to write you a letter to tell you I was coming, but I never write letters, so I wasn't going to. Is that the little fella that you're watching? She's holding Brahms. He's like, what's his name? He gets closer. She says, Brahms. He's like, that's a doll. He laughs. Well, that makes things simpler, because I was going to come here and take you home with me, and we was going to have to figure out what was going to happen with the boy, but that's not a problem anymore. So great. No issues. Zero issues here. Brahms is watching him play pool. Cole, he's like, look, it's going to be all good. I have work, and I get why you left. This guy doesn't even say it's never going to happen again. He doesn't say, I'm sorry. He's past all that. He's like, I get why you left, but here's a plane ticket. So compelling, Cole. Malcolm's going to come in, takes one look at Cole, knows exactly who this is. We're going to get some introductions. Cole says, what do you make of all this doll stuff? Malcolm says, I try not to get involved in other people's business. Cole says, good idea. Malcolm and Greta are going to talk. He's like, knock once if you're in danger. She's clear. I mean, it's clearly bad, right? Cole is poking at the doll while he's left alone with it. Malcolm's like, what if he attacks you? Cole is watching them have a conversation. So the two shake hands. Malcolm's going to leave. Cole says, should I be worried about that? Greta says, nah, no, don't worry about that. Malcolm goes to his car, but he's going to stay at the gate in the car nearby. Greta gives Cole blankets for the billiard room. He's like, I guess I'm not sleeping in your bed then. She's like, no, nope. She brings Brahms to bed. Or she starts to, and Cole's like, hold on. I just need to know that you forgive me. You haven't even apologized, man. He's very forceful with her. It's so thin, this character. It's kind of hard for me. He's like, You're not leaving me, Greta, and I'm not letting you go. Who does this guy think he is? Like, you know how actors say that when there's like a villain character, they have to find a way to empathize with the character and like understand the character, and they're the hero of their own story. What does Cole think is happening here? Greta's clearly afraid. She won't let him kiss her. Cole is like, okay, well, be packed and ready by the morning. You're coming. She's going to sleep in the bed with Brahms, and she says, I need your help, Brahms. Brahms is like, I'm on it. Malcolm is sleeping in his car. Greta's sleeping in her bed. And then, see, the door is open, and the camera is taking a point of view position as it's moving through the house. It sees the portrait. It's still moving through the house like a person might be. It gets close to Cole, and then blood starts dripping on Cole's face. He wakes up. Greta wakes up. There's no Brahms next to her. Cole downstairs next to the pool table. Yeah, there's like dead rats in his bag. He yells for her. Get out is written in blood on the wall. Greta's like, it's Brahms. Like the doll is there. She's like, it's Brahms. Cole's like, come on. I know dolls, and this is not a thing a doll can do. Cole says, come on, the doll, she's totally serious. And it's like in this moment, she's not sure who to be more afraid of, because what is the potential that this doll has and how could it be directed towards her? But also, Cole is very real and also dangerous. Cole says, give me the doll. She runs. Malcolm is going to hear this fighting. He enters the house. Cole basically just throws her. Malcolm's like, what did Brahms do? What just happened here? Greta says, Cole, you don't understand. It's the doll. Cole grabs the doll, and in a ill-conceived moment of well, I don't know. I mean, he's a moron. He smashes the doll. See, the thing is, okay, let's say none of this is real. Let's say it's not a supernatural doll, which is a fair assumption. She's still meant to be guarding it, and she's getting paid to do that. So when the people come home and they find it smashed, she'll be in trouble. She won't get paid for all this. This guy, not thinking it through. Anyway, he smashes the doll. An eyeball from the doll rolls off the table and drops onto the ground. Something starts moving in the walls. He's pissed off the spirit. And they're all like, wait, their banging is happening on all the walls. Something's like sort of like running through the walls. Malcolm says, we need to leave. Cole is going to put his ear to the mirror because that feels like a good way to hear what's happening through the wall. There's like a full length mirror in the wall. He puts his ear to it, and then it explodes and throws him back. We're going to hear a boy's voice, Greta? And a hand comes through the hole. And a man about her age with a boy's mask on his face comes through the wall. Malcolm's like, it's Brahms, the real Brahms. He's not a boy, he's a man. Brahms and Malcolm are going to fight. And then Brahms is going to fight Cole. That's the better person to fight. He's going to stab Cole in the throat with a half piece of the mask he just broke. Good choice. Right now, I'm cheering on Brahms, but after this, no more bad guys to hurt. So Brahms is going to run after Greta. He catches her, but Malcolm knocks him out for a second, just stuns him just for a moment. Brahms is going to corner them again. They run upstairs. They lock themselves in a bedroom. The phone's out because Brahms has been manipulating the phones this whole time. Brahms is outside the door and it's locked. He's going to burst through the door, and they find a way into the walls to hide. And then they realize there's like passageways in here. There's like there are full-on tunnels between the rooms of this house and between the floors. They walk through. They find the rooms that Brahms has been the room that Brahms has been staying in. I mean, it's like he's been grabbing things from around the house. It's got all the things that he needs in it. He even has a creepy doll on his bed that's got her dress on it. And yeah, he's been creating a doll of Greta. He's been watching her the whole time. He also stole the Heelshires letter. Yeah, they're not going to be back. And the letter says, "We will not be back. The girl is yours now. She's yours to love." I guess he didn't steal the letter. The letter was for him to begin with. He checked the mail, he saw it addressed to him. It's just a good thing Greta didn't find it first. Malcolm's going to find a way down, so they're going to try that. Brahms bursts through the wall and he joins them in the passageway. They find a window to the outside and they're going to try to open it, but it's stuck. So Malcolm's going to have to fight Brahms because they're running out of time. Brahms, as he's fighting Malcolm, flashes back to Emily and has a moment of rage, the moment that made him kill Emily to begin with. And he knocks out Malcolm, doesn't kill him, just knocks him out. He's speaking in a little boy voice for Greta. It's like, come back here, come back here. I love this choice that it starts as a little boy voice, and he slowly starts to become growlier and raspier, and he's talking in a man's voice, and it's scary. He says, "Don't leave me." She runs out of the house. He's yelling at her. She runs to the grounds. She gets to the gate. She's like, "Welcome." All right, I'm going to go back in. So she runs back. She sneaks into the house. She grabs a letter opener, a nice, long, sharp weapon. Brahms finds her, but she hides the letter opener behind her. She says, "I came back for you, Brahms. I didn't leave you." He comes to her. He sniffs her. She's like, "Oh, okay. What's a rule that I can use?" So he's all sweaty. This man has never showered in probably the entirety of his life, right? Like, it can't be good. How did they not smell him? How did these people never know that this man was hiding in the walls? Anyway, so he smells her. She's like, "Brahms," she shouts it. She stuns him. She says, "It's time for bed now. Time for bed. Let's go. You know the rules." They go to the bedroom. She tells him, "Put down the weapon, Brahms. We don't go to bed with weapons in our hands." He gets in the bed. She tucks him in, just under the covers. He watches her. He has a full beard. Man has never had a haircut. He's like, "Kiss." She's like, "No kiss tonight, Brahms. That's your punishment." He's like, "Kiss." She's going to kiss his mask. He's getting a little bit more fervent, but she's got a weapon, so she's going to stab him. And he has the strength of 1,000 men, and he throws her into the ceiling/wall, so the corner of the wall. He starts strangling her up against the wall, and she's going to shove the letter opener in more. And he drops to the ground, and she escapes. She's going to go get Malcolm. She's going to drive Malcolm away. And then we get daylight on the house. There's a camera surveying all the rooms. That's the footage that we're getting here. We're going to get a portrait of Brahms. We're going to take a good look at that portrait. We're going to zoom in on Brahms's face. And then we see behind the portrait, behind into the walls, where, there are passageways and the rules are written. And there's Brahms in his room, man Brahms, fixing the doll's face. He has lived. So, that's the film. I mean, it's strange and unusual, right? I mean, I don't know that I've seen anything quite like this film. I think it has all of the atmospheric elements. They're in the middle of nowhere. It's in like an exotic location, or it's somehow like I don't know, it seems like a warm and cozy but exotic location at the same time. It has the mansion is a cool thing to explore, the idea of it being a haunted house, and that maybe there's like something exciting about the way this doll is channeling something. I kind of like Greta as a character. So I think, all of that stuff is working for it. And then, partway through the film, it's like the subgenre you thought this was, that's not what it is. This isn't supernatural. This has been a real human stalking her. It's been a home invasion the whole time. And I think as much as it's like a very rushed along plot, once they're trying to get things going, because there's a lot of different reveals they're trying to make. Because one of the things that they have to tell you is about Emily, because otherwise, my question would have been, why was Brahms hiding all this time? Like, he's alive. Isn't that good news? He could have just been with his family. But you know, he killed a kid, and there would have been a reckoning for that. And he was hiding because of that. And so, you know, he was already a little off center to begin with. And then he already had a violence in him. And then he's now had what, 20 plus years of solitary confinement to add to that. So it's, you know, I keep coming back to the fact that like the body odor must be incredible. Like, you would smell this, right? But I do think like the rules are very clever. I mean, he's got rules there that are designed to make it so people can't hear him when he needs to move through the house. So he's got certain times of day where he can be sort of guaranteed to move freely. And who knows, like maybe he got into a habit of like cleaning himself up or making himself some food and going into the kitchen during the times when he was supposed to be having lessons, or you know, when the dad was outside cleaning the traps. So it's just amazing to think about how it's almost like the whole thing is almost like it's really not meant to be an elevated horror, but I think with the idea that there's a character in this film who is a physical abuser, or has done physical abuse to Greta in the past and probably will in the future. I think when you think about that, like, things don't always start that way. They seem kind of normal, and then things start going a little off, and then they kind of apologize for it, and they say it's not going to happen again, and you somehow let it, you know, like you say, okay, I believe you, all right, but you love me, it's fine. And then you kind of, things escalate, and you get to a place in your life where, like Greta's friends have noticed, like they could see that she needed to escape her relationship, and Greta wasn't able to do it, or she couldn't make it happen, or she was too far in, or she was too scared. There was a million reasons to stay. And the same thing is actually happening in this house. And they're showing you how we get there. You know, like she starts really not believing the situation, and yet still she's just sort of getting pulled in one step at a time. And so I do think that there's a parallel there with her previous relationship, that she's probably feeling what that looks like, and she knows what that looks like. And it just is turning out that this is a pattern in a weird way she didn't expect. So, but yeah, I mean, I love the atmosphere of this film. I like the way that it's shot. I like being in this house, and I like that they surprised me. And that's what I think about this film. What did you think about this film? Feel free to share your thoughts in a comment. Also, I would love to know how scary you think this movie is. My scary meter is busted. I've watched so many horror movies, I'm desensitized to them. So I would love to know how scary you think this is. Rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not scary, 10 being so scary, and anywhere in between. And let's just see where we land, and we can get a better understanding of like how safe a recommendation this is for people who are or are not into really scary movies. So next time, it is going to be day 19, and we're going to watch Velvet Buzzsaw. This one's from 2019. So many different subgenres you could put this into. I'll say things like art horror, supernatural, comedy, slasher. I've described it as art kills people in the style of the art. It has a really cool cast: Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo. I mean, just some, check out the cast. You may be surprised, if you never heard of this movie before, how interesting it is. It's a really fun movie. So I hope that you'll check that one out with me. And in the meantime, happy EEKtober, everybody. Get spooky, get donuts.